So today I'm joined by Philip Yoon, co-founder and chief product officer with methinks Technologies. Welcome, Philip.
Hi, nice to meet you, and thank you for having me.
Now you've been credited with helping to pioneer free-to-play multiplayer video games in North America, and of course you have a long career history of innovating in the gaming space. Mm-hmm. What aspects of the gaming industry excite you the most?
First of all, I'm a big gamer, so I've been playing, video games since I was 4. I've been to arcade, I have Super Nintendo, and PlayStation and everything. So I was a big gamer. So working on the gaming industry, that was my dream. And as soon as I graduated school, then I just decided to, go that path. And that's how I get into the gaming industry. And the company that I started working at, which is a Han Game, which is South Korean. The online game company. So they started this free-to-play but in-app purchase model the first time in the whole world. It's like back in the early 90s. So that was kind of innovative, the approach of the gaming market, and I learned a lot, and I am happy to contribute to that process at the time.
Terrific, terrific. I think one of the things about gaming is that most people that are passionate about gaming rarely actually get into the engineering side. So for those that are passionate about playing, but also being able to develop and advance the sector is incredible. Now let's get into the heart of your startup, methinks, which is working on online qualitative research and allows for businesses to be able to ask qualified consumers specific questions. It could be one-on-one, it could be focus group interviews or app tests and surveys via screen sharing technology. Can you tell us a little bit more about how this works?
So the methinks, as you can say, the methinks is a qualitative research platform. So we are providing this platform from the recruiting the target customers and also having them on board on our platform and perform all different type of qualitative research projects on our platform. So we basically providing these platforms to help you to solve all the logistics of the qualitative research process. So traditionally, qualitative research has been involved a lot of the logistics and fragmented the tools and the method that you have to use to perform one successful study. For starting from recruiting the right participant, that's a painful process. So you need to find the qualified one, but you want to avoid these professional survey takers, which there are a group of people out there and they are just doing the survey and answering the question as their job. But those are not, the general consumer that you're probably looking for. So finding the right target participants take a long time, and also accommodating this qualitative research. For example, like bringing people over to your office or the focus group facility, those are also involved huge communication back and forth, and also the location issues. So like, for example, you have your target customers living in New York and you happen to be in California, then that's going to be a problem. So traditionally you have to fly over there and, book a room in a facility to do this, qualitative research. So in the end, all this process take a very long time and also cost you a lot of money. But as the time moves on, and nowadays everybody talking about rapid development and agile development. So these are very important. The core process of building the successful products. You have to listen to your client, your customers, and then have their opinions and insight into your products, and how fast you can release these features and products is the key to successful products. But just traditional qualitative research process just taking you so long. It's like, to normal process taking you 3 months, 6 months. In the end, you find out this insight, but it's just too late to apply those insights to your products. So in the methinks platforms, we basically dreaming about this very innovative process that you have a products or ideas or anything that you want to validate. You're thinking about that this morning, and you can have the customer insight in the afternoon, qualitative insight in the afternoon, and move on. So how fast you can apply those great insights from general consumer into your products, that's the key visions of what methinks provide to our clients.
Now, there are, of course, traditional research firms like Nielsen, and I could think of many others as well, including even ad and creative agencies that already have panels and database of these people. And they're starting to facilitate some of this online via virtual online desktop collaboration. So how exactly, if you could just go a little bit deeper into either the algorithms or kind of the IP that's central to what you guys achieve?
Got it. So everything is moving to mobile. So people's eyeball on the mobile phone, and they've been using based on statistics, so most of the traffic, like web traffic, is happening. More than 56% of the traffic is happening on the mobile. So now people feel a lot more comfortable to communicate through their mobile phone, and they are always connected. And mobile phone has all these, great features like camera and microphone is all in there. So the approach that we had, we are creating our panel on your mobile. So we are recruiting the users through the Meetings apps, and the users just download the Meetings app from app stores, and they just fill their profile, and that's it. And then we are ready to go. So we actually analyze their lifestyles and app they install on their phone. So basically, we're profiling, passively profiling all of those users. And when we need to reach out to those people, we can just simply send push notification SMS, which has a lot better reach than the emails or traditional phone call you made. Even though you have millions of people in your database, you have to find those people, make a phone call or send an email and waiting for the responses for them. But we changed the whole process. Okay, there's a new project and this new customers that we need, that we just send out the targeted users push notification, and the people who actually respond to it. And they can just use the Meetings apps to participate in these interviews or focus group just using their phone and internet connection. That's all they need. Wherever they are, it doesn't really matter. So that's how we can, that's how we actually, provide these fast services.
So it's kind of interesting because it's somewhat like a Fiverr or kind of a freelance type of a platform where they're available as a variable labor force upon demand. And my understanding is that you have a database over some 350,000 pre-screened consumers, which I would imagine these are consumers that have downloaded your app. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. We just passed the numbers about 500K. So that's we actually grow rapidly because one of the typical differences that what we got is we lower the bar to become a panel. So they don't need to go through all these technical checkups. So most of those services that require qualitative research participants, they definitely need some good computer. They need to know how to recording the screens or like upload the screens or any sort of like homeworks. The users or the participants has to be qualified to do all this kind of technical tasks. So one of the biggest hurdle for traditional the qualitative research is about remote qualitative research is about how the participants need to be prepared technically to participate in the survey. But we simplify the process just within the Meetings app. So we lower the bar quite a bit. So anyone who's just general consumers can be the panel just immediately just by downloading our apps.
So real quickly, can you explain how the compensation scheme works? How do they get compensated? Is it based on engagement and set of duration or the type of engagement?
So you mentioned great things about it's a gigging economy. So it's similar to any sort of like the available resources out there, the people's out there, and then they can simply contribute their time and their thought to this research platform, and they will get compensated. So the compensation, we are very kind of generous the compensation policy. So their time, we just basically calculate their time spending about 30 minutes for $20 worth. So if they spend 1 hour, it's going to be $40. So it's basically easy to kind of calculate how much time they actually put it in this study, and they will compensate it, and they'll be compensated like weekly basis. So we don't actually have anything like you have to reach $100, you will pay you, or you reach the $20, we will pay you. So any amount of money, any amount of time you spend on the platform and contribute it, you will get compensated. How small it is, you'll be compensated every week.
So for your enterprise customers that are looking for, let's say, more affluent households or more kind of higher social economic segments, do you think that those people that are more in the higher affluence brackets are going to want to participate in a kind of a gig platform like this?
Oh yes, of course. We the $20 for 30 minutes. That's for the general consumer. So when it comes to more complicated recruitment schema, So when you actually your target demo is more tight, we definitely kind of bump up the compensation. Sometimes we do have a fintech customer, we do have a medical field customers, and they kind of looking for very specific, like a lawyers or doctors. In that case, the compensation goes up, to respect to their expertise and professional. So sometimes it can up to $200 or $300. And our referral system inside of the Meetings app works really well when it comes to a new projects comes in to the gigging market. And then people kind of refer their friends and family, so they can easily send out this referral link to their friends or family, so they can easily jump in and participate in these projects. So that's one of the different fields that we're actually touching too.
So I want to go a little bit deeper.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are addressing, of course, the removing of the friction when it comes to primary research through automating as well as the online aspect and keeping it synchronous. However, with that said, there are some fundamental kind of innate issues with primary research. So for example, what people say is often different from what they actually do in a real life situation. And then in a focus group setting, for example, they may be influenced by the response of other participants and so forth. So do you help overcome some of the traditional limitations of interview-based primary research, or are you just really facilitating the interaction between the two?
So that's a great question. It really depends on the Meetings is a platform. So we listen to the researchers who's using our platforms, and researchers have a different style. Just like what you said, someone really prefer the focus group kind of setting, but someone doesn't really like the focus group because the peoples are influenced by the other, the big talkers. So that's sort of like, innated the problems in the research itself. So in our experiences, we have about 80% one-on-one interview setting versus 20% focus group setting in our statistics. That really depends on like what clients want to achieve. But we also have to consider this online focus group setting. If there is more participants, more than like 6, 7, 8, it can be a little hard to kind of manage all these participants in an online setting. So we generally advise to our clients to kind of limit the focus group numbers to 5 or 6. And we have a dedicated research teams to help onboarding these researchers and help them to provide resources and the case studies and what could be the best setting for their studies. But one of the great things about the Meetings is not just about interviews. One of the traditional issues for the whole research project, sometimes it consists of composed of the qualitative pieces and quantitative pieces at the same time. But the traditional issue is you're using the agencies to kind of recruit the quantitative research participants. Generally, it's a survey, and then you have to recruit the other qualitative research participants separately. So there is no wrinkle connection between these two. But generally, one of the popular way that people actually use the Meetings is we have a capability to run a survey project, quantitative, and you can identify the interest group out of this quantitative participants and move them into the qualitative research, which actually give you very seamlessly connected insight flow. So that's kind of like the innovative way that how we can actually provide this one-stop platform. You can actually perform all these various type of tasks.
Yeah, that's a great approach. I really agree that makes a tremendous amount of sense to work with the same sample size and allow for capture of the quantitative and qualitative, and to weave it so that it's congruent and makes sense. Exactly. Coming back to your background in gaming, I want to kind of explore a little bit something slightly outside of your current startup, which is, do you think, whether it's your company directly or just general trend, is that with virtual reality headsets becoming much more sophisticated and sensorized, as well as the haptic gloves and the outfits that they wear, is there a potential for capturing biometric information such as galvanic skin response, eye pupil dilation, heart rate, EEG, and just a host of kind of almost truth meters versus what they actually say? Do you think that that is a potential in terms of sourcing of research that you could consider or the industry could consider?
That's a very interesting question. As a gamer, I'm also very interested about this virtual reality, and I got most of those headset and try by myself, Oculus and PlayStation 4. And those are really interesting in terms of like, I think your perspective about seeing, and capturing and gathering the different biometric information who's using the virtual headset, which is kind of something that I haven't really thought about, but that's really good insight. But one thing that we are seriously looking at this technology, AR and VR technology, is one of the limitation of the remote qualitative research is that you can't really see how these people actually using their products in their own face. It's all like a digital asset, digital stimuli that we share with the participants. But this VR technology and AR technology, we are investing our quite a bit of engineering resources on that field to how we can simulate our remote participant can actually see and feel the products that the researchers want to share with them. When it comes to CPG and the actual products, that the look and feel, and you can see this 360-degree products is actually very important for them to actually get a sense of what this product is. So this is some of the technology we want to use it in our research perspective. But when it comes to the gaming, as a gamer's perspective, it's I think that there are still some hurdles to go forward. The resolutions and the movement of the heads can still be a little obstruct for the experience itself. But it's very interesting, and we just keep watching like how the markets go. But we also have some clients who's actually making the softwares for the VR, and we haven't really have the solutions to support the VR customers yet. But this is one thing that we will be definitely investing and researching for the future.
Yeah, that's great, because my next question was going to be around your future product roadmap. So thank you for sharing about the potential for incorporating AR and VR, just to give those participants a tangible kind of a ephemeral experience around what that product or service would feel, look, or interact with. So that's terrific. My last question is, what was your greatest product innovation failure, and what was the lesson learned?
Okay, so that's connected with how we ended up starting meetings. So I used to be in the gaming industry for 18 years, and I had a big dreams, and this is my fourth startup, and my previous three startups are all gaming companies. So we want to make innovative games that never exist in the whole world. Nowadays, the gaming field are just, one successful model came out, and everybody just copy the games and, have a very similar games. That's sort of like the basic rules in the gaming market. But, I didn't want to do it, and our team didn't want to do it. So we definitely want to make some innovative game, how your normal life and the virtual life and your game and your social networks all mingle together, and your day-to-day activity can be a gamified. So that's sort of like the concept, a brand new concept we created for our previous startup, and it failed. And so the first product can fail. So we definitely reiterated and modified and tried to release again. And that's where we find out how innovative the game, how innovative the product is. It doesn't really matter if the consumer does not take it. So from our perspective, we liked it. We think it's really exciting ideas, but we didn't do much of the research on who's going to use these products, and are they ready to take this new innovative products and in their phone and they play it like every day. We didn't do much research on it. We just believe in our intuition. It's going to work because we're all veterans in the gaming industry, so we think it's going to work, but it didn't work. So before we actually tried the third iteration, we decided to, we want to find out more about how the targeted customers would think about our products. So we can just want to, see how they actually use our apps, use our games, and how they perceive about the game. But there is no easy way for us to actually see how they use it and just have an interact in real time to get the right feedback from them. So that's okay. So that's there's no easy way for us to do this sort of like quick, fast, qualitative research. So meetings just come out these ideas. This is great ideas. We talk to all of our startup community. I'm like connected in the startup community in Silicon Valley, and they love the ideas, and we kind of pivoted into the meetings.
Terrific story. So on that note, I've been joined by Philip Yoon, co-founder and chief product officer of methinks. Philip, it's been a real pleasure. Thanks for joining.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.